Hey guys, so this is going to be Rocktober day 10, and I don't know if anybody even really cares, but I need to look because it was one of the few times in my life that I'd lost like 90 pounds or something like that. Probably the smallest I'd ever been. There's a picture of Joey and I'm sorry. Hey, Rocktober day 9. Today's the 9th. And I had said something about showing you guys a picture of Joey and I from the past. And I am not at home, as you can see. And the only reason I'm making this video now instead of waiting is, and I'm going to find that picture because I want you guys to see me, if nothing else. I know that sounds vain. But I had really short hair. And it was a wedding that we were both in. And I remember I had all the feels. Because we were in a picture together. And I'd lost a bunch of weight. And I'm pretty sure I was in college already. I'm trying to think. I was in college already. Anyways, that has nothing to do with why I'm making this video now. So I'm making this video now to talk about non-scale victories. And all the time, we all have non-scale victories that if you haven't had one in a while, I need you to just sit down, take 15 minutes, think about one. Think about one, sorry, my boobs are all hanging out, in your everyday life. Because if you've lost weight at all, and not even a number, I don't even want to think about a number, but if you used to be heavier and now you're smaller, there's non-scale victories all over the place. And I have really been trying to be body positive and be more focused, really think about where I'm at in my life today. Even though I'm currently losing some weight, I go through phases where I don't. And I think it's so important for us to be mindful of how we feel in our journeys and to just really think about those non-scale victories. So, two things brought this on. The other day, so I've been working in this after-school program with some of our school kids through church. And so one of the moms was talking about how kindergarten had just been harder than they had expected, and that her child, which by the way, the mom and I think of this child, it's she probably wears the same size clothes I do. I know when I lost weight, I gave her a bunch of clothes that were like size extra large, 1X. And that's about what I'm wearing now. So I would venture to say that we probably wear the same size clothes, but we are not the same size. I think she looks way smaller than I am. She's probably 5'10". So she's just a big, tall, broad girl. And so this little girl, her little kindergartner, is going to have the exact same build. But there is nothing about this child that is overweight. There is nothing about this child you would never look at this child. I've seen kids that were overweight in kindergarten. This child is not overweight. She is tall. She's going to be broad, but she is not overweight in any way. And I would never even look at her, even as a child or as an adult, and ever be like, uh-oh, that kid's big. But since coming home from kindergarten, she's been talking about fat. And her mom said that it was a very weird thing because they'd never even discussed sizes of people. They've never talked about anybody being skinny or being fat, and then it was really weird. And so she started asking her questions about where that word came from, and had she heard somebody say that word, and did she know somebody that was, like, is that where it came from? And the person that she picked out to be fat was this guy from, it's a youth minister from another town, who is in fact fat. Very, very, very big, huge guy. And so when we got tickled about that, I said, well, that was a great example. But anyway, she talked to her about the size and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so she was talking about how that her particular child had a little belly on her, and just being mindful and being healthy, and how to teach your child. So we've talked about this. So I've really been trying to, and this is not at all exactly where this video was going to go, but we're just going to go with it. So I've really been trying to be mindful, and I'm always constantly trying to make, my kid's a really picky eater, and it really stresses me out because Ed nor I have been picky ever. And I am hoping and praying that this is a good thing. even though the choices he makes now are not healthy choices, if he continues to be picky, maybe he will always be picky and we will not have a weight problem. I do not want my kid to have a weight problem. It really bothers me. I worry about it. But on the flip side of that, so I don't ever want him to feel like he's not good enough or to feel like he needs to change something about himself. So even if he has a weight problem, I want him to be confident and happy and know that he can do anything he wants to, no matter what size he is. But one of the things she was talking about is, she was like, I don't know if I need to talk about diets with her, like use the word diet. And I was just talking about making changes in their family. It's just as far as activity and, putting food on their table, on their plate, and that, you can offer healthy choices. And if they choose not to eat them, that's up to them. And it's easy for me to say those things because my child is 2, and more than not, he chooses not to eat the things that I put on his plate, which really bothers me because I don't want him to be hungry. And I know some of it is being a picky toddler. Some of it is just being, we also had this eating issue for a while that I'm still not 100% confident. So there were some things on his plate that would have been a great healthy choice for him that he doesn't get because of the issues that we've had with eating and choking and swallowing. It took me a really long time to put like raw vegetables and stuff on his plate. But I want Oz to, so in saying all that, one of the biggest thing that we talked about was exercise. And I was talking to her, and it was so funny that I had all this knowledge and all this confidence telling her these things that I struggle with daily. But I was telling her about how that I want Oz to always know that health is a priority for me, and that I had finally gotten 2 years out from having him to this spot where even if I don't incorporate him into my exercise, because I have this shame and this guilt that comes with leaving him to go to make a healthy choice like working out. But I want him to know that working out and taking steps to be healthy is important. And so that's what I was talking to her about. And I said, your kids, I said, whether they can tell you or explain to you or not, the choices you make now, the things they see you do, I said, will impact their life forever. And I want Oz to always see me as a healthy, active person, no matter what size I am. And I always want him to know that even if I didn't, like, we try to do walks in the stroller, which he does not love. I try to go for, like, walks, like nature walks with Oz, which he loves. But they don't last really long because he's 2. But I want him to know that I'm asking someone to watch him so that I can go and make a healthy life choice, like going to the gym or going for a run or going for a walk. I want him to see me putting these things on his plate and in my mouth, like fruits and vegetables and lean meats. And I want him to see that those foods are good all the time and that sometimes you can have other things. I think it's Tanya who talks about sometimes food, always food. I don't know exactly what we'll go with in that state, but anyways, that's not the non-skill victory. Well, okay, sort of. That's one of the non-skill victories because I feel like now in this spot that I'm in my life, I was able to give advice and encouragement to another mom. And I think about how on this journey and this process, how I've been able to do that a lot, so often. Even after I've gained this weight, people constantly come up to me and want to know what I'm doing and what I'm eating and how and so that's so awesome. And that, if you make videos, if you talk to anybody, if you share your journey in any way, that's a non-skill victory. That's an impactment on somebody's life. And I think that's amazing. And I want to thank you if you've impacted my life in any way. The other non-skill victory, and this is where it all got started, was today at church. Oz is under the weather, which is another reason why I'm making this car video, because I don't have him right now. But I teach the kindergarten class, and so I had to go. I had originally tried to find somebody, but when I realized he wasn't running fever, he was just snotty, Ed took the bullet and decided to stay home. So I went to church by myself. I didn't have Oz, I didn't have Ed. Well, I sat beside this little couple that I've known forever. Way before I knew Ed, I've known this little couple. They're my best friends' parents' neighbors. And Mr. Rayful did not know who I was today. And when I sat down at church, I leaned over and said something to him, and I patted his leg, which I don't know why he would think a strange woman would be patting his leg. I got tickled thinking about it later. But after church, he introduced himself to me. And I didn't realize he was doing it at first because he was talking to me. And we were just having a good, friendly conversation. And, yeah. And then he asked me, was I visiting? And I was like, Mr. Rayful, it's me. It's Sarah. And he started laughing, and he said, well, I thought I knew you. He said, but I couldn't place you. Now, keep in mind, this is an older gentleman. But guys, I still got it. I may have gained 50 pounds, but I still have it. People still don't recognize me all the time because that I've lost weight. Because for the majority of Rayful's life, I've been 350 plus pounds. My face has been rounder. My body's been bigger. So he probably didn't really recognize me. I don't know. I just thought that was a fun non-skill victory. By the way, that's not always been a fun non-skill victory for me. I don't enjoy it when people don't know who I am. But I just thought that one was interesting. So I know I took the long way around to tell you that story. But just appreciate you and where you are in this moment, in this journey. Because I think it is so important. And we're all on a different path. And I'm really trying to be mindful of those things. Okay, guys. See you later. Bye.